She appointed and anointed.
Did everybody enjoy their lunch? Yes, good. So now we're going to get started because we know that we're falling a little behind, but we can make up that time because we know you all are good listeners. And so we're going to go ahead now with the Legal Defense Fund. And I'm not looking at the program, so your name again. Come on. Come on. We're going to do the Legal Defense Fund, and then we'll have Reverend Smith, Stanley Smith. He is a go-getter, so we'll introduce him. Come on up, ladies. And our president, I was going to say, no, our national board member, Edward DeBose, is here, so we want him to say a little something later, too. So, ladies, if you all would come on over, you want to sit here? Yeah. And I understand one of our young ladies was at Spelman College and used to be with the NAACP. So,
Thank you.
yes. Can you get it, sweetie? It's a little high. Okay. You all right? Well, you worry about the skirt. Okay. So let's give them a hand. Legal defense.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Are y'all awake after lunch? All right. Well, my name is Hamida Labi, and I'm Senior Policy Counsel at the Legal Defense Fund. I'm very excited to be here with you all for another NAACP Day at the Capitol in my hometown of Atlanta. So a little bit about LDF. Since our founding in 1940, the Legal Defense Fund has been a pioneer in the struggle to secure and protect voting rights for Black Americans. We have been involved in nearly all of the precedent-setting litigation related to minority voting rights, including the recent Supreme Court victory in Allen versus Milligan in partnership with the NAACP of Alabama in the redistricting case. LDF's mission is to promote the full, equal, and active participation of Black Americans in America's democracy, and we are proud to work in partnership with many of you in furtherance of this goal. During the 2020 general election, in the midst of a global pandemic, more than 5 million Georgians turned out to vote, and Black voters in particular showed up at the ballot box in historical numbers. According to the U.S. Census data, 33% of the 2020 presidential election voters in Georgia were Black. And as if that weren't enough, Black voters showed up yet again and made history, electing the first Black U.S. Senator from Georgia, a Confederate state. This was not overnight, as I know many of the folks in this room know because you all were doing that work. It took decades for organizers and community leaders, including folks from the NAACP chapters across our state, to do the work to build Black political power, and we must not go backwards. The resilience and determination of Black voters to not be defeated does not mean that Black voters did not face real barriers in the election. We know that following the 2020 election, certain state legislators set out and made it their mission to strip us of our voting rights, working to pass laws that would disproportionately impact Black voters. They passed laws to make voter ID requirements more stringent. They restricted absentee voting and the use of drop boxes. They made it easier for individuals to challenge groups to also engage in True the Vote, I think was the name of the organization, to challenge someone's voter eligibility without cause. They went after funding for counties, making election administration more challenging and costly. We have also seen multiple voter purges from the state and last-minute changes to polling locations, making it confusing for voters to know where do they cast their ballot and what is their registration status. And we can't forget the rise of misinformation and disinformation and its increasingly role in threatening our multiracial democracy. So while our state has been lauding its high voter participation rates, they have continued their crusade to stop us. But what they don't know is that we have overcome far more. We stand on the shoulders of John Lewis, a freedom rider who fought to protect voting rights from Selma, Alabama on Bloody Sunday all the way to the U.S. Congress. And John Wesley Dobbs, who co-led voter registration efforts that registered more than 20,000 Black voters in Atlanta in the 30s and 40s. And many more. I know each of us have our heroes. I also stand on the shoulders of my great-grandmother, Annie Lee Moore from Alabama. In this room are leaders from your churches to your college campuses and in our neighborhoods. We each have a duty to leave no power on the table. As a child, I grew up volunteering in polling locations on the south side of Atlanta and marching with the NAACP when I was in high school in 2005 as we demanded reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. We knocked on doors encouraging people to vote, even though I wasn't old enough to do so myself. That is what growing up in this great city has taught me, that each of us has a role to play in forging our path to freedom. As we approach this 2024 election, we must not be defeated by their voter suppression tactics. We must flex our power. We make history. Let's do it at every level. Let's do it at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. As LDF works with our Georgia partners and our national allies to provide and protect Black voters with renewed protections against discrimination by fully restoring and strengthening the Voting Rights Act, we will continue to stand with each of you as we advocate in the Georgia legislature, as you will today, and in communities across the state to continue to build Black political power. So I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, but since we're in church, I thought we could do a quick call and response to make sure y'all awake. So when I say build Black, y'all say political power. Build Black.
Political power.
Build Black.
Political power.
Build Black.
Political power. Thank you so much, Amita. Hey, y'all. As Ms. Moore said, I am Larnay Satchel, the former Spelman College Unit President, also a former member of the National Youth Works Committee, an appointed member, but I stand here today as a LDF Voting Rights Field Coordinator for the state of Georgia, and it is a pleasure to be back home with my Georgia NAACP family and to see you all again and to be able to offer you all some of the things that LDF can do in partnership with you and your units and just the Georgia NAACP as a whole. So I want y'all to dig in your bags and bring out this palm card that is in your bag. You should see a palm card that says, Georgia, are you prepared to vote? Does everybody have one? So this palm card is one of the many things that LDF has partnered with Ms. Tanza and some of the other executive leaders from the Georgia State Conference on bringing to you all today. This is just a sample of something that we are able to provide to your units free of charge. After our presentation, you can come find me. I'll be around, and just let me know how many palm cards your unit would like. This specific palm card is for the March election. We will be doing it again in May and again in November. Again, LDF is providing this to you all and to your units free of charge. Just let me know how many you need for canvassing and other GOTV events. And we also have a similar card, the same information, but on a door knocker that might be more useful for when you're going door to door canvassing in your communities. So again, just let me know. In addition to this palm card, another part of our election protection program that we are doing in partnership with the Election Protection Coalition that we sit on for the state of Georgia is our poll monitoring program. That poll monitoring program is a volunteer-based program, so all of your volunteers that you have within your units would come, they would train with LDF, they would have all the information on what to look for, common issues that we see of poll sites, what to do if a voter needs help. We work with the Lawyers Committee and encourage our volunteers not only to use our own systems, but also to call the Election Protection Hotline, the 866 Our Vote hotline. And we train our volunteers when to call that hotline and then also to when to use our website. Our website gives our volunteers all of the tools and information that what they would need in addition to our training to be able to help mitigate any issues that they would see at poll sites on election day, from navigating long lines to navigating a voter who might be at the wrong location or their location has moved, to anything in between. And so we would want to work with you all to bring this training to your units and roll that down, and also to train your volunteers on how to use our poll site training form and our poll site checklist form. In addition to that, hold on y'all, just trying to check my notes. We want you all to share your plans with us, and so if there are any GOTV events, or any other events that you all have coming up. I live in state. It's a pleasure to, be a transplant here in Georgia, and having stayed in the state of Georgia after my graduation from the #1 HBCU. But yeah, it's a pleasure for me to be here. So I am willing and ready to travel to all parts of the state of Georgia to support your events, to bring you the resources that you would need, and to just be a support in any way that LDF can. And so I think that brings us to our time. Ms. Moore, are we good on time? Or?
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? Anybody have any questions to ask them really quick? You do? Yes. Did we get your contact information for the supplies?
So you can reach out to me today. Unfortunately, I am newer to LDF, so I don't have any business cards, but you can reach out to me via my email. It is lsatchell, SATCHELL.
Is it like the Dr. Satchel?
I don't know what Dr. Satchel. It's like the satchel, like the purse, with the extra L at the end. So again, it is L. Oh, maybe it's before my time. No. As a young person, not to.
Dr. Satchel is well known for his involvement at the political arena.
Okay, you're teaching me. See, this is what we were talking about earlier. This is what we were talking about earlier about passing the torch. Information that I didn't know, even as a young person who has been active. Thank you so much, Ms. Moore. What, who else? Listen, he might be Ken. Yeah. But yes, again, that is Larnay, SATCHELL at NAACP-LDF.org. I'll also be around, and so if you didn't catch that, you can come see me throughout today's presentations, and we can connect on getting your units, your information. I think there was also a question over here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're excited. Also, be free to share this information with the college units or the youth councils that are in the same jurisdiction as you. We would love to work with, especially our college students, to work on our poll monitoring program as well. I think there's a question.
Okay. I saw a hand.
Absolutely. So again, it is L for my first name, Larnay, SATCHELL at NAACP-LDF.org. Yes, F as in Frank.
And D as in dog.
And D as in dog.
And if you didn't get it, or you knew, you always call the office, the state office, because we have our executive director there.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. You know, we used to, you call and you just get a voicemail. Now you can get a lot
Oh,
of
no. See,
Okay.
Satcher, who's
So-
his name.
Let's give them a hand.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'd like to thank them for their patience too, because, you know, we're running behind today, but we're trying to do our best to make sure we come back and bring you all some important information so that you won't feel like you've been left out or just ignored. So now, let's see, we have Reverend Smith. Reverend Smith is somebody that I know personally from his work in the community. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. I can't tell you all of it because this page is full. of what he's done and how he has been interactive. He was born in Atlanta, born and raised here in Atlanta, and is a graduate of Grady High School. And he's also a graduate of Morehouse College with a Bachelor of Arts degree in religion. And he was ordained at the age of 19. So you know we cannot overlook our young people. Remember, that's one thing we got to keep it up here. The young people are so important. And he's the first vice president to the New Era Missionary Baptist Convention. And he is very involved in the community. You know, when COVID hit, we had to try to get people to the polls. Well, you know what? I just called Reverend Smith. And Reverend Smith came with his van, and then he called other ministers, and they all decided they would all be a part of getting people to the polls. So I want you all to really, right now, give him a hand and an applause for the work that he's already done and continue to do. Reverend Smith? Thank you, Reverend Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you
for having me.
And I'm talking about voter registration, but he also feed the homeless. You go to his church and he's out there feeding them, and he does not wait on anybody. If you're not there to do it, he's doing it himself.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Reverend.
Very good. Thank you so much, Sister Moore. And let me say, it's good to be here. I'm a preacher, so one of the things that we're guilty of is staying on too long. And so I thought I would just prepare a statement. But let me just say, first of all, greetings and congratulations on this Founders Day. And certainly, we all have experienced in our lives the impact of the NAACP. Oftentimes, you guys are unsung heroes. But at the same time, we all benefit from your commitment and your works. Let me just say that I want to thank you guys for allowing me to share something that I believe changed my life. And I've always been one who was interested in serving. It was just something that my grandmother said that, boy, I see you like to serve people and help people. And I was very shy as a young man, and most of my friends can't believe that I became a preacher. But before early voting started in the 2020 presidential election, I received a call from Sister Vivian Moore, and she wanted us to help provide rides for seniors to the polls. She wanted to partner with the Metropolitan Atlanta Baptist Ministers Union. And I was president at that time. I just finished my presidency in December of this year for the Union of Ministers in the city of Atlanta. And I remember one rainy day, much like today, it was a Monday, and we had started the program of giving seniors rides to the poll. There's a high-rise not too far from here that I was picking up and servicing. And we began to load the van. I was in a 15-passenger van. And so all of the seniors who were able to climb to the back, they climbed in the back, and then we filled up the middle seat, and then we filled up, the front seat behind the driver. I thought we were ready to go. And all of a sudden, somebody from the back said, sir, somebody else is coming. And I said, okay, well, let's wait. And lo and behold, coming out the door was this gentleman on his walker. Seemed like it took him a long time to get to the van. And I believe it was divine providence that the one seat that was left was the seat that he could easily get into, which was the front seat next to me. So he finally got in, and I just said to everybody, we ready to go and vote? He said, young man, I want to thank you. I'm 89 years old. Thank you for waiting on me. I really wanted to vote in this presidential election. I'm 89 years old, and 4 years from now, I don't know if I'm going to be here. I don't know if I will ever vote again. That sort of became my motivation. And I thought about it and I said to myself, yes, he's 89, but all of us understand that democracy is very fragile. Our lives are very fragile. And our seniors are probably the most fragile part of our community. I was looking at it from his point of view. It was important for him to get to the polls and vote. He said, it may be my last time. And so we boarded, and that became sort of my motivating experience to say to myself that this is something that I want to be a part of. And I just want to thank Sister Vivian Moore and the NAACP chapter, the local chapter, DeKalb County, I believe it was, for partnering with the ministers in the city of Atlanta so that we could service people. Just call him, I can't remember his last name, but he said, my name is Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry became my motivation. And so as a part of the core of voting work, I was so thankful to be a partner, to provide transportation for senior citizens to early voting sites and to runoff sites, and even for the general election. And so during the early voting period of 220 general election, we provided transportation for over 100 senior citizens, over 100 senior citizens in 15 senior citizen sites, mostly in the city of Atlanta, some in Decatur, and I think we had one in Marietta. By the way, I went to Marietta, we took a load, I came back, there was another lady there, and she was the only one to go on the second load, and she decided that she was not going to ride with me. I'm not going to say anything else about it. I just realized you can't help everybody. But let me just say we visited, and we were so thankful to be able to transport our senior citizens to the poll. I drove the van to each one of these facilities for 2 weeks. The majority of them were in Atlanta again. But I'm just so thankful for the partnership that we had, the NAACP, to help identify proper polling sites, to help identify and to help our seniors to navigate the voting process. Oftentimes, it becomes very confusing to them. They're very vulnerable. And I realize that they are probably the most vulnerable, but yet they are impacted the most because oftentimes they're left out and marginalized as voters. And sometimes they even suffer the most from political and economic neglect. So let me just say this as I get ready to close out. I just want to thank God for our efforts and for what we were able to do as partners, and I'm praying that we will continue to partner together so that we can serve the most vulnerable of our voters. I hear young people, and something very disturbing I heard last night during the Super Bowl. One of the young men, there was another program on, and somebody said something that disturbed me, but I had to go back to Mr. Henry for my source of inspiration to say we've got to keep moving on. We've got to keep moving forward. Somebody said, you know, my hood did not really improve under Obama, and it didn't really go down under Trump. Believe it or not, that's what you hear in the barbershop among a lot of young people. Got to get our seniors out to vote. Let me just say this. I just want to thank God. I want to support the voters who are most in need. And so I'm just so thankful that I was able to be a part of this process. I experienced firsthand in the Ministers Union, and I'm part of the litigation against Senate Bill 202, by the way, for our legal defense people. We are part of that litigation that's still ongoing right now. One of the things I experienced was that the process of voting can be confusing, and And Senate Bill 202 made it even more confusing by discouraging people to vote. So we have many challenges. And I believe that we're still better together, that we can help more people together. So I just want to thank the leadership and the members of the NAACP for protecting the vote of our most vulnerable citizens. Many of them live throughout the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they understand the privilege and the power of the vote. Yes, I know we have to get out everybody from baby boomers to Generation Z. But my heart is with the elders. My heart is with the seniors to help them to exercise their right to vote. So even with all of our challenges, voter registration, mobilization, turnout, voter empowerment, voter protection, voter suppression, education, artificial intelligence, disinformation, misinformation, manipulation of social media posts, we're faced with the dangers of disengagement from voting and voter apathy. With all of these challenges, I just want to leave you with one thing. I believe that we still owe our seniors at least a ride to the poll. Thank you for your partnership. We solicit your prayers, and we just want to say to you that we share your passion for the advancement of our people. God bless you, and thank you so much.
Don't leave, because any questions? Well, I have one. The union that you're involved with, Reverend Smith, how far does it reach in terms of getting rides to the polls?
Well, we have ministers who have churches in communities all over the state, to be honest about it. Even though we are the Metropolitan Atlanta Baptist Ministers Union, we are a union of ministers and pastors and preachers. And so we have the ability. And this is something that I've been praying about, and I'm just hoping that God will bless us so that we will be able to reach beyond just the senior facilities in Atlanta and be able to start this kind of service in our community all over the state. Because there are seniors, believe it or not, who didn't vote simply because they didn't have transportation. I think they have paid enough in sacrifices for us to remember them.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Just 1 second. Reverend Jackson, Ruthie Jackson, she and I had spoken about the union, and I know that she has a question that she wants to ask you, but the thing that we would like to see is that partnership begin to widen and to grow. So Reverend Jackson, you want to? You could come up. You can come up.
I was just going to say, I'm in Houston County, and I know that, we have Columbus, Albany, and Savannah, and all those areas as well. So you're the Baptist, what is
Ministers Union in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm trying to connect with you all so that we can expand further in the southern area, in the most south region area, because underserved, definitely marginalized. And so if we can get those seniors to the poll, and even some who are not seniors to the poll, guaranteed ride to the poll, I believe, would mean a lot to those who are underserved. And so if we can connect, and maybe, and I'm connected to the Ministerial Alliance in Perry and in Houston County. And it's about maybe 20, 25 churches or more. And so if we can connect with you all and start that movement in those areas and even further, that would be awesome. So I would just need your information before you leave today, so that we can make that happen. Hallelujah.
That's a prayer of mine. That's a prayer of mine that I believe can be answered.
All right,
In this
all right.
space today, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm also
Yes.
second vice president of a state convention. So we have in the state convention
yeah.
outside of the city of Atlanta, we have churches, member churches in Savannah and Augusta,
Yes.
the New Era Missionary Baptist State Convention of Georgia,
Yeah.
the convention of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
All right, all right.
When the other convention was telling him when he was in Birmingham jail that he should stop agitating people. And of course, the Progressive National Baptist Convention and our state convention was born and birthed out of that disassociation. So we have people who I believe all they need is some motivation.
Yeah.
I want to thank Sister Moore for motivating me, and you can become a motivation to other people in other parts of the state.
Yes.
Let's help our seniors.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Reverend Holly.
Yes, I met Reverend Holly. Yes, fine gentleman.
I want to commend you for what you're doing.
We praise God.
In Georgia.
Yes.
But my philosophy is if there's a fire in my home and city fire department, county fire department, or the volunteer department come and oust the fire, I'm not going to argue who put out the fire. But my question is, in southwest Georgia, where I live, right now we are under the 202 bill that passed, is getting senior citizens, that's my passion, an application so they can get an absentee ballot.
Correct.
And it's a challenge because a lot of the senior citizens that I meet is in hospital beds, or a lot of them is on wheelchairs and etc. And it's a good opportunity to have prayer with them and also ask them either to apply to the state or call the supervisor elections office is to get an application so they can get an absentee ballot. But my question to you or whoever can answer this, what about our dearly beloved citizens who are in the nursing homes where we used to go in and do this? We can't go in anymore in southwest Georgia. What is your swing on that?
Wow, that is a challenge, and that's a great question. And of course, Senate Bill 202 made it more difficult for people to get absentee ballots because now you have to apply for the ballot. As opposed, we had a lot of confusion with our seniors, for an example, who thought that their ballot was just going to automatically come. And so we have to have voter education as well for a lot of our seniors. But to answer your question, I believe that there are enough of us in here who care about our seniors. Because let's face it, we stand on their legacies. We stand on their sacrifices. And I think all of us, given the right perspective of looking at our seniors, are ready to invest and to do whatever we can to get seniors who want to vote out to vote. But mainly, I think we need to be, this is something for the legal defense. I believe that we really need, because right now, Senate Bill 202 is in litigation. And so we really need to make it easier for seniors to vote. Of course, if you're of a certain age, I could take you to the front of the line. Right? That was something that was a privilege that seniors had. But we need more privileges for our seniors. And what I'm praying is that, because we're with the Advancement Project out of Washington, D.C., we're part of that litigation against Senate Bill 202. And I did a deposition, and one of the things that I said in our deposition is that we need to make it at least, come on, let's just be human beings. I understand, I don't understand, but I can see what they're trying to do to suppress our votes. But I do believe that litigation needs to be a part of that, as well as engagement to certain facilities and finding out what are their needs and what can we do to help get them to exercise their privilege and their right to vote.
Well, Pastor, my question is, our senior citizens and individuals who are in nursing homes or convalescent homes that at one time we could go in and assist those folks. But now they are saying to us, only the staff in these institutions can help these individuals, but they're not helping them. That's my question.
Well, you know, again, I think this is something that we need to make a part of our litigation. We need to advocate for these senior citizens. I remember we had one facility to where I didn't have a lift on my van. So we had to go find a lift to get some people who were in the nursing home. So, you know, we have the resources. We just need the will. We need to speak to these people, to go in and to speak to people in these facilities and find out how we can help them. What do they need? Exactly what do they need so that we can help them get to the poll and vote? But that is a complex issue, I think, and I think it's going to require.
Just a real quick answer to his question. A real quick answer.
Absolutely.
Real quick answer to his question. What he can do is get a volunteer to work at that nursing home, and if that volunteer works at it, then the statute covers that volunteer to get those voters, so they can get those ballots to those voters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Terry. You rescued me on that one. I think I've been in the lion den long enough, y'all. Thank you for the lunch, by the way.
Thank you, Reverend Smith. Thank you so much. But, you know, we got a little bit of, I guess, discussion, but that's important, right? And we needed to hear that. And, you know, what you brought up about not getting into the nursing home and being able to get there and get people registered, you know, when they get people getting out of prison, they're supposed to give them the educational piece as to what their rights are, but they're not doing that either. So we've got a lot of work that still needs to be done, you know. So what you say, that's a part of their voter suppression that they're trying to do now. But the other thing is, if you know anybody that's in the nursing home, like everybody, well, not everybody, but most of us know of John Evans if you live in Metro Atlanta. And John Evans is in Sadie Mae's nursing home right now. And when I went to see John, he's sitting in there, he's 91 years old. And I went to see him, and as I was in there, he said, you got to come back because Monday morning I'm putting together a meeting. I said, a meeting? He's 91, and it was around Thanksgiving time. And so I said, John, what are you putting together a meeting for? He said, they had one cook for all of us in this nursing home, and I'm finna find out why. And so if you find one person or somebody in the nursing home that you know, you get that person to help you with getting voter registration. That's the way I'm looking at it and trying to, and John is ready to do voter registration. 91. Yes, Pastor?
And Sister Moore, if I could just add this, please. You know, one of the experiences that I had was we went to one of the facilities on 10th Street.
Okay.
And we had to take them down to, I believe it was the High Museum.
Yeah, I remember.
And of course, we had assistance from lawyers and callers, and we had legal situations. We had all kinds of resources. But oftentimes, and I think this might add to the answer of the question, you have to build relationship with these facilities. You have to get to know these people. I took a gentleman to vote, and he got down there to vote, and another gentleman came to me and said, I think he was just checking off boxes because he couldn't read. Now, we could have assisted him in reading.
Yeah.
But nobody asked him if he could read.
Right.
He was ashamed of that fact.
Yeah.
And I believe that the reason why that oversight happened is because we fail sometimes to build relationship with people in these facilities.
Yeah.
If we had just had a conversation and said, if anybody needs help, we can help you. We can find you some help in the voting process.
Yeah.
But he just checked off boxes.
Wow. So all of this helped to bring awareness of what we need to do to check ourselves. Sometimes you forget, you know, but thank you, Pastor Smith, for bringing that to the forefront because I didn't think about that either. You know, I'm just thinking everybody knows at least how to read, but that's not true, you know. So thank you so much for bringing that out. That's a good point. And what we want to do is make sure we check all of our boxes for ourselves to make sure we know that we have checked. So again, thank you so much, Pastor Smith and Reverend Jackson. I want you all to come together. You know, we talked about it on the phone, but now this is reality. We have to bring it to fruition, okay? Thank you so much. Let's give Reverend Smith a hand. Yes. Thank you so much. And he is one genuine minister. I mean, the pastor of his church. I'm telling you, if it ain't done, he's gonna get it done, and he does a really good job. People come over just to get food that they know that he's gonna have food ready for them. And his mom is the same way. His sister, his whole family. I mean, it's just a family of really friendly and godly people. So thank you so much. Okay, so we had I'm looking to see if the board member, the presidents are coming back. Those that were over, they're coming in now. And it's a good timing because we now are going to move into our Georgia Black Chamber. Is it Mr. Hill? Yes. Yes. And so he's been waiting to come on board, and we've had some interesting facts and things that we've learned today, but now we're going to hear from the Chamber, Georgia Black Chamber. And Mr. Hill, thank you so much for coming and your patience.
Good morning, good morning. Always a pleasure to be in front of the NAACP. I got a long history with the NAACP going back to college. And we had the pleasure for those who were at the state convention to reintroduce ourselves. So I'm Michael T. Hill, CEO and Executive Director for the Coalition, Georgia Coalition of Black Chambers, newly formed, which came out of the need of a conversation and black chambers in the state of Georgia calling me, who had participated over the last 3 years for an economic roundtable that I host every 3 years, post-Trump, well, a little bit during Trump administration, post-Trump administration, because of some policies that our member-based, let me stress that, member-based organizations were not having conversations about. I think it's very, very important that as we pursue the right to vote, making sure people have access to vote, we have to also look at the return on investment of our votes. So after I have voted X individual into office, what have they done to advance the economic development, lifestyles, and conditions of my community? That's the part that I think that we've missed as a community. That's the part that I want us to begin to examine as we conclude this next election. What has those elected officials at the local, county, school board, state level, before we even have a conversation about the federal level, what have they done to advance the conditions in our community? Do our communities look the same as they did 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago? What have my elected officials that are currently sitting in the seats, who have the ability and power to allocate resources to change the economic trajectory of my community, what are they doing? And why not? And that's what I'm going to challenge every single one of you guys to ask that question after I give you some facts and information. So after that 3-year journey, and let me say this, the Biden administration, you guys, has done an excellent job in terms of creating economic opportunity for our community. We just hadn't read it. Years ago, I never forget, my background is in marketing. And I was at one of our chamber meetings, was at Pascal's, and I invited this attorney out to talk about the entertainment industry because it was June and it was Black Music Month, and we wanted to have a conversation about entertainment. This joker got up and started talking about the green workforce. Like, I brought you in here talking about entertainment. What you talking about, the green workforce? He said, Mr. Hill, this is going to change the economic conditions. And this was coming out of the George Bush administration going into the Obama administration. And the brother sat me down and he showed me all of the policies that were coming out of the Bush administration that the Obama administration was picking up. And I was like, my brother, dang, you just woke me up to something. As a marketer, all my years, I was, trying to figure out how to predict the next trends and opportunities that were going to happen. He said, brother, read the law. Read the law. Follow policy. He said, when you're down there at the state capitol and you're doing this and that, Pay attention to those laws. It's going to take about 2 years for the money to actually hit the streets. And I started tracking that for the last 15 years. So if you want to be ahead of the next opportunity, look at these policies that's being passed. Then I looked at how our organizations are handling these policies. I said, dang, we're real reactive about a policy. And then I started looking at how we structure. I said, okay, we got the black Republicans over here and the black Democrats over here and the black dependents, and then we got the black caucus. Why all of them ain't working together? Why are we not having multiple conversations? Okay, you go deal with them, because I ain't really trying to hear them calling me out my name, but I need you to bring that information back to me. I need you to continue to work what you're doing on the Democratic side, and my independent brothers, y'all just stay put. We'll get this together. And so when I look at the lack of motivation in our community, and dang, I'm still looking, I'm paying high bills, grandma's struggling, we struggling, the community's struggling, folks shooting each other. I mean, it looked the same. But you got me out. I got excited about Obama. I ain't getting nothing out of that. I got excited about Biden. I didn't get anything out there. And you're questioning, and then they're trying to make me believe that black men are voting for Trump. Now, really? Nobody in my circle talking that. They're just looking for some economic opportunity. So economics is the conversation and being able to speak to the needs of our community. And I reference, Charles Hamilton Houston, who is one of the greatest leaders, in my opinion, first legal counsel of NAACP. And I looked at what that brother did when he took that camera and said, I'm going to put it and document it on the disparities between what's happening in these schools and our schools. And then he took it a step further and said, I got to get more cats in this game, and went and headed up the legal department of Howard University. And what did we get out of that? Thurgood Marshall and a lot of other great men. I studied that a lot, and I think back on the attorney conversation that I was having in terms of reading policies. And what I started realizing as I started engaging on this government side was, we have not because we ask not. We have not because we ask not. Now I'm going to share something with you. I hope I don't run out of time, so I'm going to run through this real quick because I want you to know this. How many of you heard of Executive Order 13985? Raise your hand. Executive Order, see, I can tell who was on our calls. One brother right here, Executive Order 13985. Let me tell you about it. Right? Let me tell you about it. I'm going to read it to you. Executive Order 13985, it is entitled, listen to the titles, because when stuff is written into policy, it becomes very powerful in terms of getting economic resources to our community. Advancing racial equity and support to underserved communities through the federal government. What did you hear? Advancing racial equity and support to underserved communities through the federal government. This policy, equal opportunity, is the bedrock of American democracy. Our diversity is one of our country's greatest strengths. But far too long, many American dreams remain out of the reach in terms of disparities that have been created by our laws, policies, and our public policies and private institutions have often denied equal opportunities to individuals and communities across our nation as we converge on the economic health and climate crisis that have exposed and exacerbated inequalities, while historical movements for justice have highlighted the unbearable human cost of systematic racism. Our nation deserves an ambitious whole of government equity agenda that matches the scale and opportunities and challenges that we face. It is therefore the policy of my administration that the federal government should pursue a comprehensive approach to advancing equity for all, including people of color and otherwise who have been historically underserved, marginalized, adversely affected by persistent poverty, inequality, and civil rights, racial justice, and economic opportunities is a responsibility of the whole government. Because of this, advancing equity requires a systematic approach in enabling fairness, decision-making, and processing. The executive departments and agencies must recognize the work to redress inequalities, inequities in their policies and programs that serve barriers to creating economic opportunities. Now I'm going to skip through this for a second. they have put forth trillions of dollars have been left out of our community as a result of systematic barriers. They have put forth $8.1 trillion right now is flowing through our economy in economic policies, and this is section 2, for the purpose of this order. This is where we come in at, and this is the first time that I ever saw a policy that spelled out specific folks. The term equity means consistent and systematic, fair, just, and impartial treatment of all individuals, including individuals who belong to underserved communities. How many times did y'all hear me say underserved communities? All right. That have been denied such treatments. How many black folks you know have been denied something? Okay. It got even more specific, denied such treatments, and it spelled it out, as such, Black, Latino, Indigenous American, Native American persons, Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders, and other persons of colors, members of religious minorities, LGBTQ, person with disabilities, people who live in rural areas, people who have otherwise been adversely affected by, get ready for this one, persistent poverty and inequality. That's a law in the daggone books. Every single word that I said, who lives in a rural community? Raise your hand. Rural communities, raise your hand. Living in impoverished areas, raise your hand. Black, raise your hand. So check this out.
That's everybody in the room.
That money that came down in ARPA that went directly to the counties and municipalities first, that went directly to your school systems first, that if you was in a Republican-dominated area, they put the money in banks and they collected interest on it. Our state government even did that. They held it for 2 years, and I think they got like $6 billion or something like that in interest off the ARPA dollars that the Biden administration sent down. And nobody, those elected officials that's been sitting in office for 20 and 30 years, I'm talking about every single one of y'all communities, I'm telling you know why? Because I've been to your communities. And I'm going to tell y'all something. The longer they've been in office, and I'm handing you and saying, here go the Treasury guidelines, my brother, sister.
Thank you, man.
This is what the law says. Here, my elected official, here's I want you to read Executive Order 13985. Look at what it says. And you won't even read it? You got to check with him for permission? I'm not telling y'all, I'm telling you facts here. And the worst agitators, the worst blockers, I'm sorry, my brothers, we got to do better. Black male elected officials got to do better, man. Y'all got to do better, man. And I'm talking about y'all that's been in position 20-something years. I'm 55 years old, okay? I'm just telling the truth. My sisters, thank you, because at least y'all listen. Because you did a disservice to our community, and this is the last year for us to collect. This is the last year for us to collect. How did your school system spend that money? They did a little program and feeding program, put some stuff on the bus. Well, your school system got, in the small in your community, the rural of your community, if your county got X, your school system got 3 times that much. And it's sitting in the interest-bearing savings account right now. We didn't ask for it. We voted them in the office, but we didn't hold them accountable. Executive Order 13985. Let me give you another one real quick, and then I'm going to close out in a minute. Everybody talking about some reparations, right? Reparations. Y'all know that's a controversial issue. It's time, but it's a controversial issue. Because like I'm saying, you know what, when you hear the other side talk about, well, we got laws on the books, y'all just not enforcing the laws. Yes, that's so daggone true. You got laws on the books, we ain't holding them accountable to what's on the books. Well, the Biden administration, again, here go the next one. In October 19th of 2021, another one we've been following, Executive Order 14050. Y'all get ready for the title of this one. White House Initiative on Advancing Educational Equity and Excellence in Economics for, y'all get ready for it, Black Americans. Got your name on it. Got your name on it. Reparations? Got your name on it. But it ain't funded. Got Juneteenth. It wasn't funded. 14050. It wasn't funded. Asian community incident. Y'all know what happened to Atlanta when the Biden administration, the vice president flew into Atlanta, was getting ready to promote and tout the $1.9 trillion that was coming down through the stimulus, the opera funds, and so on and so forth. They went to Emory University, had a meeting with the Asian community who flew in from all over the nation and pulled them to the side. The Biden administration, you gave us no position in your administration. We want positions in your administration. I'm going to give you jobs. What's better than an appointment of job in the federal government? They placed themselves in all the different key departments within the federal government. So did the Hispanic community, okay? I want funding for my community. I want funding for nonprofits within our community. We want to create jobs, and so on and so forth. In less than 3 weeks, the Asian caucus got together, pushed through the Senate, got them a 5-year appropriation directly for their community. During that same year, during the Pan-Asian Pacific Month, a foundation, which they were already incubating, got $50 billion in funding from corporate America. And that same year, we got Juneteenth with no funding. Tired of the ceremonial stuff. Y'all should be too. So in that executive order, because this is where the school system comes in, and you can flip it any kind of way when we really get into it, advancing racial equity and economic opportunities, connecting education to labor market needs through programs such as dual enrollment, career and technical education, apprenticeships, work-based learning programs, career advancement, and particularly in the fields of STEM. The other one you need to know about, Justice 40, which my brother's talking about, which is mandating that the federal government put a 40% set aside for minority groups. Last, what are we going to do about it? NAACP is the most powerful and has always been a well-structured organization. We got to do more than just get out the vote. NAACP has provided us with beautiful, beautiful committees. We got a committee for everything. But we don't focus on developing those committees, incubating those committees, launching those committees. That's what we got to do. Why do we have to do that? Well, we're here today, just like we announced at the state convention. We are partnering all of our black chambers in the state of Georgia with the NAACP's economic development committees. What I want to remind you is that these economic development committees, as stated by the Constitution, is that these committees on economic development shall implement local efforts and support national programs to preserve and expand economic empowerment among African Americans and other communities of color. How will we do that? Through research and establishing relationships with private and public entities. Thank you. Supporting the work of the national office and mentoring the progress and activities of private public entities designated by national programs, meaning that, y'all, the most powerful thing that the NAACP had during the quasi-FEMA administration, that's why I think it got in a little trouble, was the reciprocity report. Community Development Resource Center. That reciprocity report saying, hey, Mr. Corporation, what are your hiring practices? How are you giving back to the community? We're going to rate you from A to F. That's what's going to come out of our economic development committees in Georgia. We're going to hold them accountable. Ain't no need to protest. We're just going to, hey, play the game. We're going to put you on the report. There you go. The second entity is implementing local efforts to promote the growth of business ownership. We got to support each other. Number 4 is increasing employment and the creation and encouraging business development and home ownership opportunities. That's our plan.
Okay.
And I want to close on that. So we got 3 pieces of legislation that have, for the most part, funding attached to it. We do a DC fly-in. We did our first DC fly-in, and many of us have gone to the DC fly-ins. We go talk to our elected officials. I told my group, I said, look, they're going to come home. We'll talk to them when they're at home. All right? What we need to do is go get some friends in these departments. And so we had the opportunity to do, we sat down with 12 education department, USDA, GSA, the FDIC, the Department of Commerce, and we got a friend in every department now. All right? But we're only so big. So what we want to do is that we got to get our Black Greek organizations, our faith-based, all member-based organizations back involved with the NAACP. We got to grow our committees in the NAACP and strengthen those committees with a focus on economic development. So I look forward to working with you guys this year. It's going to be an exciting year. We're going to shake it up. They ain't going to see us coming. But I'm telling you guys, we asked the governor 4 times for some ARPA funding. He told us 4 times no. The 4th time, we ended up getting $2.1 million. But we did it unapologetically Black. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't sugarcoat it. Brought the best of Black excellence in front of them, unapologetically Black. And we're going to work with the current administration. We're going to work with any administration because we work in both sides of the aisle. Whatever I got to do, if I can't get a bill out of committee, I am no effect to my community. So we got to have both sides of the conversation. But please, people, these people that's representing us sometime, all skin folks ain't what? All Democrat folks ain't for you either. All Republican folks ain't for you either. Who is really advocating to change the economic conditions? Is my community changing after I vote? Have I asked that elected official? Because we asked them. And they didn't even want to read the documentation. The other thing, and one more thing, the other challenge with our elected officials, particularly in the smaller communities, guys, and this we can do this through the Legal Defense Fund, we got to send them so they can go get educated. I have so many commissioners who couldn't go to the national conference of county officials this weekend. And we need to fund those type of things so they're not listening to the city manager who don't look like them, educating them on stuff. Okay? Because see, what's happening is that every newly elected official get orientated and trained by them. This is what you're supposed to do. I'm going to put you in jail if you do this. But the other group is saying, Granddad had been in there for years. This is what you need to do, and this is how you do the loopholes and stuff that you can get around. You see what I'm saying?
True. It's true.
But you got to look at who's educating our elected officials. We're not educating. Lobbyists, they educating them. And so that's what I want to see, how we move forward with the GCBC and the NAACP. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, we just had the Pastor Smith before him, right? Pastor Smith came with the souls to the poll, and now he's coming with the economic, which is the money that we really need, right? Yeah, so we will make sure that we partner with you, and we appreciate you willing to do that. So now I really want all of you to give him a big hand, and we got to get all his contacts. Thank you. He was ready to preach, wasn't he? Oh, yeah. That's right. Preach and get that money to come in. That's right. Yes, yes. Well, so we're gonna move on the agenda, but we have a special presentation. And Executive Director, did you want to introduce? Because we have a special person here. Some of you know him and some of you don't, but if you don't, you're going to get to know him today because he's a really powerful young man that's out here working in our community. So I'll give you the pleasure of introducing our national board member.
Good afternoon. I'd like to introduce to some of you Elder Edward DuBose, our national board member, former state conference president, former president of the Columbus branch, but one of the baddest civil rights leaders that the Capitol has ever seen. A few years ago, he had 10,000 motorcycles outside going around. Some of y'all may not believe it, but I was there. Our former national chair, Rosalind Brock, was on a motorcycle. And so again, I introduce to you the Elder Edward Oscar DuBose.
Fired up! Fired up! Fired up! Where are the NAACP presidents? Raise your hand. Matter of fact, just stand up a minute. I want to see the people fighting on the battlefield, because it ain't me. It's the people fighting on the battlefield. That's what I want to look at, right there, on the battlefield with their unit. Watch this. I'm going to read this resolution, but I want you to know something. Your presidents were across the street in room 230. And I asked a question. I'm going to ask those of you who were not there. How many of you have your state representatives and your state senators on speed dial on your phone? Raise your hand. If you don't, it's okay. Raise your hand if you do. I just want to see that, because I'm going to tell you why that was important. We were over there, and I said, if you have them on speed dial, text them and tell them to come to room 230. They text them, Republicans and Democrats, and they came to room 230. And let me show you how the fire burns. Those who didn't get the text wanted to know what was going on in the party in room 230, because representatives don't want to miss out on nothing. And so before we know it, the room was so full, people could not speak. What I'm saying is, you have more power than you realize. You have more power than you realize, and they recognize it better than you do. So they started crowding the room, and they wanted to put on their 2-minute speeches, and they wanted to tell you the things that they were doing. That's okay, because you want to listen to them, but don't be fooled. Right? Let their action follow their words. Because some of them came over there and tried to explain to us why they needed to not expand Medicaid. And then on the other end, some came to us, what the military, the veterans in the room. If you served in this country in any branch, I wish it was Army, but please stand. I only recognize Army, but stand everybody. Because they were talking about Georgia is the last state that would increase retirement for veterans. Those are the kind of issues that we need to be aware of, right? Veterans come in black and white, and veterans have served this country well. One of the presidential candidates, I won't mention his name, had something bad to say about a veteran. I won't mention that name, but I'm saying you have power in numbers. And so if you don't have their number on speed dial and you are a president, it doesn't mean that y'all buddies. It just means they respect you in the position you hold enough to say that I'm going to come before you. And even if they don't, you should have the kind of influence in your community where you can mobilize the people and vote them out. That's right. Now, if I come into your community and you can't even point me to a judge, a chief of police, even a regular patrol officer on the street, you're not leading. I'm just saying. Who has the mayors or the city council member or the school board members on speed dial? Raise your hand. Pretend you're in church now. You're in church. Raise your hand. You're in church. God is watching over you. If your hand is in the air and lightning strike next to you, I hope it don't hit me. So I came up here to read this resolution, but I like to have fun with leaders because you all are this is it. It's not on the national board. It's here. You all think they argue in your branch? How many of y'all have arguments in your branch meeting? I mean, y'all argue. They have it on the national board too. So here's the and I want to recognize too, I don't want to stop without recognizing this executive director. Tanza has done an amazing job for the state. I mean, she has, y'all can clap for that. She has done an amazing job for the state conference. And the work that she do suggests that sometimes you're not going to get along with her. Matter of fact, sometimes you're going to want to throw a glass or a cup or something at her. But if you look at the fruits of her labor, at the end of the day, as the cup go backward, and you think about what she has done, and you remember when Jesus was on the ground and said, any of y'all that ain't sin, throw the first rock or something. Any of y'all that think that she hadn't accomplished something, throw the first cup. She has accomplished a lot for the state conference in a short period of time. So I want to acknowledge her in her role as leadership. Now if it can get out your way. I am. House Resolution 1033 by Representative Reese of District 140, Hugel, I'm just calling their last name, of District 141, Glaze of District 67, Kendrick of District 95, and Sampson of District 153. If you're in one of those districts, raise your hand. If one of those were your representatives. So we got them all represented. Okay, cool. A resolution recognizing and commending the NAACP National Office and for other purposes. Whereas the NAACP National Office was founded on February the 12th, 1909, and its network has since grown to more than 2,000 branches of adult, youth, and college members, serving as an organization seeking justice and equality. And whereas it is appropriate that the members of the legislative body recognize those organizations that have rendered outstanding service for the betterment of our communities. And whereas the NAACP is one such organization through which many cities across the United States have witnessed excellence in education, business, public policies, and political representation achieved by hundreds of thousands of its dedicated members. And whereas in 1941, Dr. Ralph Mark Gilbert, pastor of the First African Baptist Church of Savannah, convened about 10 branches, including Savannah, Brunswick, Dublin, Atlanta, Columbus, Macon, Albany, and about 3 others to form the NAACP Georgia State Conference, which quickly grew to 40 branches and 1 college chapter. And whereas the NAACP Georgia State Conference has now grown to 134 adult branches and 183 youth and college division units, led by its executive committee and general membership under the direction of Georgia NAACP President, Attorney Gerald Griggs, National NAACP board members Edward DuBose and Reverend David Walker, and Executive Director Thomas Tanza S. Thomas. And whereas today, as the NAACP National Office celebrates its 115th year, it is abundantly fitting and proper to honor its continued fight for social justice, to ensure that racial hatred and discrimination are eradicated from our society. Now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives that the members of this body recognize and commend the NAACP National Office upon the grand occasion of its 115th anniversary and extend sincere best wishes for continued success. Be it further resolved that the clerk of the House of Representatives is authorized and directed to make an appropriate copy of this resolution available for distribution to the NAACP National Office, in-house, and adopted February 7, 2024, William L. Riley, Clerk. This is the power that you bring to the table. This is the power that you bring. And so in that context, if you've served as a state officer at some point in the history of the organization, would you stand? you were on the state executive committee at some point, you served as a state officer or a state executive committee member, because I don't want to, we need to see the leaders. Some of them are going on to glory. You need to know the people, why they yet stand with you. All of these state leaders have said, y'all give them a round of applause. Thank you, Madam Leader. Wait, I can't forget my man. Stand up, smile. Y'all already know him, but I got to stand him up. I've got to stand him up. How many of you all have did work with Red Cross? Anybody? All of the disasters in Georgia, we don't have that many hands. Well, guess what? Under his leadership, Smither, we call him Smite, the Georgia State Conference, over 10 years ago, established a memorandum of agreement with the Red Cross at the state level. How many of y'all remember Hurricane Katrina? All of the black folk that was in the water that they call refugees and all of those kind of things. That established it. This man stood with us as we established the first historic memorandum of agreement between the state NAACP and the Georgia State Conference NAACP. Give him a round of applause. God did it.
Right. Thank you so much, Board Member DuBose. And to his point, that resolution, any one of your branches can get a resolution from the House or the Senate side. I made sure that I used my relationships with my elected official, State Representative Teddy Reese, and he's a freshman. He's only been over there for, I think, well, this year will be 2 years. And I said to him, Representative Reese, the process to get NAACP in the Capitol has changed. What do I do? And so I found out that you have to go through your representatives now to book the room and to get the room, and Representative Reese did not hesitate in doing it. And so I found out that it was a great event over there. Presidents, how did you like that event? Kid, did it turn out to be a great event? They clapping. So make sure that when you go home, you share those experiences with folks in your branch so that you can do the same thing on a local level. All politics are local. So start there. You already know who your state people are. And so with that, I'm about to turn it back over to our Mistress of Ceremony, Political Action Chair Vivian Moore.
I thought I was through for today. You know, I want to really recognize our national board member, because before he became a national board member, he was the president of his local branch. But let me tell you, when I met him, what he did, something I have never seen done again before, you did it. And that was when we wanted to have a big protest. He got all of these guys on motorcycles to ride around. Do you remember that? Yes. And they went, like, everybody was looking at, I mean, he made it known who we were. Yeah, so I encourage him, I respect him, and from that day forth, I have never forgotten how that just opened up everybody. All our eyes were wide. I mean, all these cyclists was going, yes, and it was really a good day. Thank you, Elder DuBose. Yes. And I want to add something to what he said. We do have that power. And I do know my state rep, my senators, all of them. If I go through now, they know me because not just that I'm thinking I'm powerful, but because of the work that we do. The other thing I want to make sure you all do, when we came in this morning, Louise Thomas, who is our treasurer, she was with me. And when we pulled up, all of these buses was lined up. You see all the buses? None of those buses was for our children. We need to get our children to the Capitol. We need to do that. For many years, I've always had children to be pages. So you can ask your state representative, your senators, get our children to the Capitol to be pages. And you can do it now before it's, their 40 days is up. I really want you to try to get as many children as you can. That should be our buses lined up there too. But you see, when all the children get off the buses, they don't look like us. And so education starts when they're young, and it goes and grows even more as they get older. So I'm encouraging all of you as unit presidents or political action chairs, or if you're just a member, you can take your children over to the Capitol to learn what's going on. You don't know who's going to be the next Obama. But I tell you now, we've got to do better with educating and educating them on all aspects, not just the voting rights. Where's the young man about economics? That's really important. Yes. So I'm going to stop preaching because I didn't get my license yet. I just wanted to really just make sure that I kind of put that out there, because sometimes we don't think about that, but let's try to get our children. I preached earlier about involving the young people, right? So you can start. I started mine when they were in 6th grade. I had a crew come in and I'd drop them off, wait right there on them steps. I'll be right back, and go park and come and get them. So I'm encouraging you all to do that as well.
Started in 2nd grade.
Oh, in 2nd grade? Well, see, I was late, wasn't I? But, you know, and then I want to say a little bit about you, Smiley. You didn't know this, but I have a son who is a retired military man. And when my mother passed away, I didn't know where he was. But I called the Red Cross, and they got my baby here so that he could come to my mother's funeral. And I realized then that that's one organization that I always respect and donate money to. And at the YMCA, we just had a blood drive about 2 weeks ago. So we are definitely in support of the Red Cross. And thank you for all you've done for so many years. Yes. All right, now I said I was through preaching, so I'm going to go on with the program. So we now have, let's see, we did the chamber. So now we have the Georgia Alliance of African American Attorneys. Are they here? Oh, young man, come on up. Yes. This is Daniel Brown. Thank you, Daniel, for coming out. We definitely want to hear from these attorneys. Good-looking attorney, too, isn't he? I ain't blind, y'all.
Well, I don't know about that last one, but good afternoon. Hope everybody is doing well. My name is Daniel Brown. I am the Vice President of the Georgia Alliance of African American Attorneys. It is one of the premier black bar organizations in the state of Georgia. I have served on the executive board since June of 2020. You know, before I go more into that, I always say we all should do our individual part to positively impact the community, right? Collectively, I respect what NAACP is doing and other organizations that are geared toward uplifting, educating, and edifying our community. But I know for me, it's like I think about the things that I can do individually to start out. So what I've been doing is, for years, I protested at the state capitol. So you'll have a background of what I'm doing. I put thousands of my own dollars into the black community for high school students to go to college, because I want to make sure that I'm doing my part. I've handled police brutality cases inside and outside of the courthouse, settled cases against different counties. I won't go into that, but I think you'll know who I'm talking about. So I'm making sure that I do my part to educate my people, uplift my people, spend my money with my people, and making sure that I actually am on the right side of history. You know, I remember working the funeral for Rayshard Brooks over at Ebenezer Baptist, and comforting his widow and the family, having words for them. Born and raised here in Atlanta, I'm a Grady baby. I know we have a lot of transients now, but I'm here. I've been here. I grew up on the south side in College Park, Georgia. I didn't see a lot of black attorneys. And so honestly, I didn't think that I could be one. It wasn't embedded in me to know that. I saw sports athletes, I saw rappers, I saw some, but I didn't see a lot of, attorneys, and I didn't see a lot of activists necessarily. So being here, born 10 minutes from Dr. King's home, right? I went to school at Georgia State, and this is my community. So I'm geared here, I'm rooted here. I am invested in the cause of our people in whatever way that we can, and I can help out. I definitely want to do that. So a little bit about, thank you for that. And I started my firm a couple years ago in order to make sure that we can uplift the black community, helping fathers get legitimation rights, handling both police brutality cases, working on voting rights cases, and that's how I ended up getting connected with G Quad A. I send greetings to you on behalf of the president, Mr. Randy Frails, who is in Augusta. He was unable to be here, so instead I'll speak. And what our organization has been focused on doing is helping minority judges get seats on the bench. In June of 1992, the organization was started, Tyrone Brooks versus the Secretary of State. That's how this organization was born out of that. We don't have a lot of minority judges that sit on the benches. In September of this year, I'll be taking over as president, and one of our main focuses will be, number one, we do want to definitely partner with the NAACP and form a litigation team that can put together a strategy. That can put together a strategy that can help on voting rights cases, that can help on police brutality cases, that can help on education cases and employment discrimination cases. So that'll be one of the focuses that I'll take on once I start my presidency in September. Another will be a judicial forum that we'll have a lot of judges, and a lot of whom I practice law in front of, and a lot of whom I have, someone mentioned having the elected officials on speed dial. These same judges where I made donations to, the same judges I want to call upon and say, hey, listen, can you come back and speak at a forum to educate those who also want to run a successful campaign? Because that's important, because they are making the rules. And depending on which level that you're talking about, judges making rulings, some are appointed at the federal level, but at the state level, they are running their campaigns, whether it's municipal court, whether it's state court, whether it's superior court, juvenile court. These are elected officials, and so they are there to serve. And there was a wise man who lived a long time ago. He said that he that must be the greatest among you must be a servant of all. And so that is what our focus is as an organization. We just recently had our winter conference where we focus on the access to equity and justice. We had CLE, continuing legal education seminars, where we educated a lot of the Supreme Court justices who came and did presentations on affirmative action, on artificial intelligence, on sex trafficking, and just different areas of the law that don't get a lot of attention. And so that was very, very important. And it's a lot of work that goes into, because the organization lay dormant for a while, just to be honest with you. So when we started back in 2020, I did not realize how much work it would be to get it started back and going. But I'm glad that I got into the fight, because it's easy to sit on the sideline. It's easy to complain. So I just wanted to make that clear, like Georgia Alliance of African American Attorneys, we're here to help out in any way that we can. We're continuing to progress and move. We have members all across the state of Georgia that are ready and willing. These are educated, intelligent, strong attorneys who are ready to join the fight and to help out. Ms. Thomas has my contact information. I want to thank her for giving me the opportunity to come in to address you all today. But if there's anything that I can do and information that I can relay back to our organization, please do not hesitate to let us know. We're definitely in the fight, and any way that we can assist you all for further events, please let us know as well.
Thank you, young man. He was really good to be a servant. That's what he's done. It was in your heart when you were younger, and you're still doing it, and we appreciate that. Yes, yes, yes. You know, we need more people to do. I think it was it you, Baldwin County? They're doing something now, a forum with the judges and, yeah, with the judges and who, come and tell them about it while he's here. Come.
So we're having a forum next Monday with the DA's office, solicitor, with our sheriff, police chief, with our superintendent. Who else is there? We're gonna be. She want me to have this mic.
Yeah, I wanted them to hear.
Okay. So again, next Monday, we're having a forum, and we're inviting out our local officials, city and county commissioners, our city and county manager, but we already talked about the city and county managers that we might need to kind of do some little stuff outside with them from over, you know, so, but the DA's office, solicitors, so we're just going to, just everybody that's somebody in Baldwin County who's actually helping to make decisions for our community. We'll be talking about cold cases and crime as well.
Thank you. I thought it was so interesting that you all...
And we do this annually.
This is the second time? Very good. Let me give the community a chance. Thank you. And you know, it's good to hear a little bit from everybody, because everybody have a story, and sometimes this is how you learn. Okay, so I'm very pleased and thank you so much. And we borrowed the young lady from you earlier. Where is she? Yeah, she had to leave. Okay, so we've had a good time. Now we're going to move right on. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody had their hand up? Okay.
I am short, so I understand.
I'm sorry, Madam President.
I just want to ask: is it remote? Is it something that we can access via on a remote a remote feed?
No, it's not, but we can probably make that happen. Yeah, we can try. We got a bit to work on with our communications person, so we can probably make that happen.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I'll get your information.
All right. Again, we networking. All right, Red Cross is ready? You ready? Okay, so you heard earlier when Elder DuBose talked about the Red Cross and how they have been with us for many years and how helpful they are in our community. They don't just come and get blood, they come and help in the community. They are servants to our community. And I certainly appreciate it. So now on here we have a young lady, but I know better than that. Mr. Fallon, we have Mr. Fallon from American Red Cross, and we want you to come on up.
All right.
Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Good afternoon. Brother DuBose, Tanza, Vivian, we have a long history. And I am because of you. And that's the truth. And I will say some things to you all, excuse me, but it will be the absolute truth. I am because you are, and you are because I am. Understand that, and I mean that. I came to the American Red Cross via NAACP. I used to be the National Director of Community and Economic Development for the NAACP. We did over $100 million in affordable housing with Bank of America. We did a partnership with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to generate over $1 billion in affordable housing loan and dollars that we put into the black banks so that black banks would have access to the secondary market. Because black banks don't have enough capital and collateral to access the secondary market. So what the NAACP did under my leadership was negotiate with the secondary market, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, to require these dollars. And what happened in that transaction discussion and negotiation, Fannie Mae came back and took the declinations of the Community Development Resource Center historical data and came up with a mortgage product. The NAACP had a mortgage product at a time when the mortgage industry was booming. The objective of the CDRCs at that time was to free the NAACP from corporate donors. Why? How could we go to the people that enslave us and ask them to free us? So we went to the secondary market. Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, joined in with us and gave us access to the opportunity to negotiate with the traders on the desk. We were on the desk of every trader in Wall Street talking about how we were accessing emerging markets. Why? We are an emerging market. African Americans spend money like you can't imagine. And then when we drive those dollars, when we drive that spending, we become a market. I think the black buying power last time I looked at it in the state of Georgia, about 30-some billion in the black community? And the none circulates back. I came to the NAACP doing Red Cross. The NAACP sent me to Hurricane Andrews when I was Director of Community Development. Benjamin Hooks hired me. As a matter of fact, I just won my third term as a city councilman in Lithonia. I was one of Georgia's youngest elected officials when I left Savannah State. All right? Benjamin Hooks, Earl Shinholster, actually saw the work that I was doing in the newspaper because at that time to be a young African American in Lithonia, Georgia, at that time when it was majority white, where I grew up. When you're talking about enhancing the quality of life, attracting more investment in the community, developing the community in a way where you can provide affordable housing, access to business, that blew people away in 1983. In 1983. Benjamin Hooks and Earl Shinholster brought me in, and this John Della Johnson,
You hear me, don't you? I mean, I'm talking about the real pioneers, the real folk.
1.8 trillion.
1 point, you hit, whoa. You hear me, don't you? Done went over 30. 1 point, wow. Say that, brother.
1.8 trillion.
Black community spending in Georgia. Understand? I want to kind of make note of that, but I was sitting at home. Earl Shinnosa called me. He was the director of the southeastern part of the United States for the NAACP at that time. Benjamin Hooks was here in Atlanta. He and John Della was eating lunch and asked me to come sit down with Benjamin Hooks. Now, I'm walking in looking at a man I done grew up reading about. This man was history in front of me. I'm sitting in a room with a John Della Johnson who was kicking Coca-Cola, and y'all don't even understand. Well, I grew up in Lithonia, so I knew about these folk. As a matter of fact, when I was in Lithonia, I led a sit-in when I was in the 4th grade, and I led a walk out of the Cobb County schools when I was in high school. Oh, believe me, we was having a struggle back then. And as you know, the NAACP started in Lithonia, Georgia, where I grew up. We had the Grand Wizard on Main Street. Yes. But they brought me in to talk with me. I never forget the question. They was eating chicken, tater salad and everything. They was getting down. And they asked, "You want something to eat?" And we started talking. And he asked me, "Why do you want to work for the NAACP?" And the only thing I could say to him was, I remember my Uncle Sonny was with Hosea in the movement, Julian Bond. I knew all of them growing up. We sit in, Hosea and them lived right behind my auntie, so we'd sit in when they would come in and hear the stories. And just that day, we were looking at the dogs, and I'll never forget it, it's still in my mind, and the water hoses that they were doing in Alabama. And I told him about what that did to me, the imprint that it made in my spirit. And that was the last question he asked. Next thing I know, I was going to the national NAACP. Right before I got ready to catch the airplane, this is no joke, Hurricane Andrews hit South Florida. They say, "Smike, we got something else. We're going to redirect you." Now, I haven't even been in the office yet, and they sent me to Hurricane Andrews in South Florida. The devastation, I'm sure you all know about that. But that devastation had just erased that part of Florida, just erased it. But the NAACP went in, and I was assigned to work in West Perrine with the Community Development Corporation. Ed Hanna. Nations Bank at that time, now Bank of America, also had put dollars in so I could be there by housing and so forth and so on. And I was consultant to the CDC and helped that CDC and other community development corporations throughout South Florida replan. We did charrettes throughout the entire affected areas and put strategies in place that gave people opportunity to own their homes, new home ownership, new business development. We planned communities better after the storm than they were before the storms. First thing I said when I had an opportunity to speak to the community was, this was St. Andrews. Me and Jesse had a problem because we will rebuild, and I'm telling the community, y'all just went through, and very few people died. If you could have saw it, it was unbelievable. But the NAACP assigned me there. Right after that, they brought me up to Albany, Georgia, with my good friend, Reverend Holly, down in Albany, Georgia, when the floods hit Georgia. I was assigned to Albany. We went to Albany, they gave me $3 million. We set up an office in Albany, a relief recovery center in Albany, and hired 5 people and stayed in Albany 9 years to redevelop and help housing and improvement in Albany, Georgia. During that time, right after that, I went through a divorce, took some time off, and Fume came in, things started changing. Unfortunately, you know, some of our leadership ain't been no good leadership, I'm just saying. Things started changing. And I think you all can understand, you had an office, we had 9 offices. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac had gave me money to expand throughout the whole country.
And then Bank of America, Nation Bank were getting ready to join in, so we were even going into California, all over the country. We were going into Mississippi, Louisiana. We had the money. Fannie Mae, we had the money. And all of a sudden, things changed. But during Katrina, they sent me into Hurricane Katrina. Called me up, Brother Boson called me up, Nelson Rivers, called me up, Smike, need you to go get to the Red Cross. I went to the Red Cross national headquarters. It was operating the entire theater of disaster operations. We call them disaster DRs, disaster response, right? Centers and whatnot, operations. I was at the headquarters. I first got there, first people I met was the vice president and the president of the Red Cross. I said to them that they have opened the door to the NAACP and things at the American Red Cross will be changed. Will be changed. From that day on, the NAACP and the American Red Cross have worked together in all type of different disasters, from flood, tornadoes, hurricanes, of course. We've trained people all over this country together. As a matter of fact, our president of the Red Cross and Derek Johnson are counterparts. They work together. We raised several $1 million when Derek took over the NAACP. We just gave the NAACP $700,000 to help me in our long-term recovery in Central Florida. So to say we're committed, we are more than committed. Why? Because we know that the infrastructure of this NAACP serves and delivers services throughout this country. For us to partner with the most credible, the most powerful, the most feared, the most revered African-American institution on this earth, trust me, we know what we're doing. Believe me, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. We know that with this relationship, the African-American community will get served. Brother Dubose, Brother Holly, Tonza have been on the ground with us. They've been in the trenches with us. They've been on Operation Tonza, have been at Sandy, one of the world's worst disasters that ever hit the northern part of the United States of America. Tonza was on the ground. Tonza was on the ground in hurricanes that hit Louisiana. Tonza has been on the ground. Tonza ever got on my last nerve, but she been on the ground. No, on all seriousness, she has. And understand what it takes to leave your home and go stay in a shelter. Because let me say this, in a disaster, sometimes disasters are so bad, we have to try to get as close as we can into the area so we can deliver the services. So sometimes we have to stay where we can. Let me say that again. Because we're there to serve. It ain't about us. It ain't about us. That's why I love that cross, that bloodstained cross. I know it's relatable to other communities in different ways, but I know with us, when you see that cross, you know what's up. You know what time it is. But believe me, we have together, we are doing some powerful things. Leon Russell, the chairman of your board, national board, is counterpart to my boss. Leon Russell can shoot me a phone number or email, and I have to do exactly what Leon tells me to do. That's your chairman. I have to do, listen to me again now. Leon, when Leon Hurricane Ian just hit Central Florida, last year. We had the tornadoes in Selma, we did, tornadoes in Rolling Fork, Silver City and all those areas, right? In northern Mississippi. I wasn't on the ground in Hurricane Ian. I was at home. Leon Russell shot an email over to the president of the Red Cross. Next thing I know, I was catching a plane going to Ian and getting with Adora and Weezy, your state president in Florida, who's also on your national board. And Adora, we hired Adora, and she worked with us. And that's we've hired other NAACP in Louisiana. We got NAACP hired in Mississippi. Why? You know your community. And let me start with that and kind of, today you were supposed to meet our CEO. I want to introduce the CEO of Georgia. She's new here, Alicia. She went to Georgia State, played basketball. Excellent young lady. She's sharp. She'd like for me to extend her greetings and also apologize. She came down with COVID. We've been traveling the last week, and I'm kind of struggling as well, so I'm gonna get on out of here and get out there. But we've been traveling for the last week in different climates and whatnot, so a lot of us have come down with something, but she's down with it. Alicia is the new CEO of Georgia. She is committed to this organization, committed to working with you. Edward Dubose was one of the first in the United States to do a state agreement with the NAACP. And a part of that agreement is sharing resources, all right? Identifying youth programs, community initiatives. If you all want us to come into the communities where you are representing or where you are, we can come in and do preparedness training, readiness training. We can come in and get people ready for disaster, get your churches ready for disaster, get your businesses ready for. We can get your community prepared for disasters and get you engaged in volunteering and being a part of it. We can work with your small businesses to identify kitchens that can feed during disasters. We can look at other businesses, and we are looking at businesses. We spend over $3-4 billion a year. That's just an operation. When we do a disaster, you hear when we turn the faucet on, we might raise $2 billion in 30 days. We spend a lot of money. And we need you all to help us identify businesses in the community that we can do business with. We also need you to be a part of this. Why? Because we also provide resources to volunteers when they're out on deployment. All right? And we have jobs. We have jobs, and we are pushing diversity, equity, and inclusion. Derek Johnson just wrote a letter to the Red Cross, reminding us what the NAACP is all about. Reminding us. Derek Johnson just wrote a letter to the American Red Cross, talking with us about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and justice, of course. We are connected. We have a national agreement that we're getting ready to upgrade and redo. We've hired your NAACP president out of Savannah State, the youth college, and he's doing extremely well. So the door of the American Red Cross and this relationship is meaningful, it's impactful, and it's something that we can help transform these communities when we come in contact with them. The Red Cross now are focused on 3 areas: health disparities, hunger, food deserts, and affordable housing. Let me say that again. Health, your health committees, join in with us, because issues in the black community when it comes to sickle cell and other issues, we use blood for medicine. So we need to join with your health committees and be put a part of that strategic plan. Hunger, your advocacy, your economic development outreach. Let us join together and see if we can identify appropriate relationships with grocery stores and or vendors, if you will, that can support food deserts and help us eliminate the need for, or should I say, food insecurity. And housing, affordable housing. It's a need for affordable housing all over the country now. We have dollars that we invest in affordable housing, and nonprofits that are doing affordable housing, and agencies that are working with people for financial literacy, home buyers education. We will work with you. We have resources to do it. We have resources to support food deserts and developing, addressing hunger and food insecurities. We have resources. We are getting ready to put a national staff team in Savannah, Georgia. It's going to be the first one in Savannah, Georgia, where they will not only have, we will have 3 members of a team that will focus on these 3 areas in Savannah as the first one in Georgia. They will have dollars, they will have a budget, they will have money, millions of dollars to put into these areas, into the community. We hope, and our objective is to hire someone or a team from Savannah who knows the community and knows the agencies and organizations who can help us identify appropriate agencies and organizations to invest in and support. All right? And of course, we're constantly, and I'll say this again, where your branches are, you need to know, just like Brother DuBose said, your representative, your mayor, and all the key people, you need to know the Red Cross executive in that area as well. Because when homes burn down, we have resources. We can help people not only through the night and get through the trauma of the experience, but we can also pay down payments. We can turn on utilities. We can help people recover from fires. Oftentimes, our community doesn't have access to the resource because we don't know. So your branches should ensure that that fire department and the leadership of that community know that we provide these resources, or should I say, let them know you know that we provide these resources. So when a fire happens, your fire department reach out to the American Red Cross. All right? During disasters, we have to change the color of the American Red Cross. We have to change the culture of the American Red Cross. And we cannot change it unless you participate, get involved, get engaged, and let's do the work in these communities. We don't. We cannot. And let me say this to you, and the reason I can say this without, the Red Cross know, you know, there was people at that time when I first got there, you know, I've been called nickel monk and everything else because I was only black. They know, and trust me, and if they don't know, believe me, I tell them whenever I have an opportunity. We got to increase diversity and inclusion in the American Red Cross, bottom line. But the only way we can do it is for you to get involved. But where your branches are, have us out to the community. Because when we come into the community, it means something, believe me. I work for the national headquarters, of course. Georgia is where I live. I live here in Georgia, but I work all over this country. So any relationships you have with any other NAACP, and we work with pretty much everybody, but if there are relationships you have conversations, ask them to reach out. We'll come to your community and we'll do a job you can't imagine. We have tools that can help everybody from grandma to your children to your business community be ready and prepared for disasters. We have resources that we want to put in the communities because now people can't fly all over the country anymore. Why? Because disasters are happening every month. They're happening every week. The environment has changed so much, and you got an environmental department, environmental justice, right? We need to be attached at the hip. We need to be a part of your strategic plan. We are part of the state conference plans in most states. We need to be a part of your plan. All right? So, Tony, say it, Tony.
Tell them about the money we're working on.
Oh, yeah. Right now, like I said, I just gave $700,000 to do recovery in Florida. I'm working on a grant for Georgia as well, all right? Because the American Red Cross, as I mentioned, disasters are happening so frequently that you got to be ready now. You can't wait for folk to fly in and 72 hours we hitting the street, passing out food and everything else. No, that local church got to be ready. You got to be ready to get on the street. You got to be ready to help us identify where the needs are. You got to be ready now. Because nobody's going to be jumping on planes. Because why? We might have fires in California. We got floods in New York. We got floods in the Midwest. We got tornadoes in Mississippi. We got hurricanes on the coast. And if y'all remember, that all happened at one time. And it's happening every month. So we got to be ready where we are. And we need your help to do it. NAACP is without a doubt, the American Red Cross respects and appreciates this relationship in ways you can't imagine. Someone mentioned, DuBose mentioned about the power. Nothing in America happens without consulting the NAACP. And you better believe it. White America respects and appreciates and fears this organization. Again, I came to the American Red Cross because the NAACP sent me to the American Red Cross. Bottom line. If there are any questions, I'm available.
I think it's so important you know, like you say, the issue with disaster readiness. I'm down there in Dougherty County, and we go through a lot
Yeah, you do.
floods and tornadoes and things of that nature as well, too. And also, too, I'm a firefighter down there. And the city is 75% African-American, and a lot of African-Americans don't know where to go at to get those resources when they done lost their house due to a structure fire. So, you know, to hear all of this information, you know, it's overwhelming to know that the resources are there to address communities of color across Broad.
That's right.
So thank you, sir.
Well, we need you in order to ensure that you have access to those resources. Let me give you an idea. We're putting $100 million right now in that Hawaiian island that was burnt down by that fire hurricane. That was a fire hurricane too, by the way. I mean, yeah, burnt down. We're putting $100 million to rebuild it. Wow. Okay, that's the kind of stuff we do. All right, we putting money over in Rolling Fork and Silver City and all those areas right now too. So we can come in and rebuild. We can come in and invest. But we need you. We need you. And I'm going to say this to you. I cannot say that enough. And I'm going to tell you, I really do appreciate having the opportunity to speak to you. Of course, Alicia, CEO, you need to meet her, and I do want to make that happen. But I appreciate this opportunity. Anytime I have an opportunity to come home to my family, to speak with my family, this is unbelievable. Because when I say I am because you are, that's no joke. I was sent to the American Red Cross by the NAACP leadership. So thank you all for my career.
Excuse me. Can you please tell them how to get involved? Because a moment ago I heard you call out a couple of members that used to work or still work with the disaster relief team. Yeah. Like Cinnamon Baldwin from Clayton County. That's did Hurricane Katrina.
That's right.
I did Hurricane Sandy and the Moore, Oklahoma tornadoes and the Georgia tornadoes. But would you tell them how they can get involved? Because we need people from different communities to be involved. Not only that, also tell them sometimes it can get lengthy, because I did 3.5 months in New York.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Now I wouldn't suggest that, you know, because, you know, that's a lot. That was a lot. But you did. We need you involved. And if you want to be a part of volunteering with us, we have a system. It's called Volunteer Connection. Or you can call me directly, and I'll guide you and work with you to get you connected to the folk in Georgia so that you can be walked through the process. And I'm going to suggest this. If you're a branch president and you got members on those committees and whatnot, you probably want to be in the system because, like the gentleman here said, in Albany, Georgia, it may not have happened to you, but it's coming. Yeah. You're going to be affected by a disaster. So I would suggest you all try to get into the system, be volunteers, because when the time comes, Dexter Benning is y'all coordinator for the state. But when the time comes, each of you will have to be called to lead, like Brother Holly. And me and Brother Holly, we fight and fuss and fight sometimes. But you know, every time we fuss and fight, it's about the people he's serving.
Yeah, that's right.
You understand? He get a little zealous sometimes, but it's about the people. And I can deal with that. I love that when somebody fighting for the people. So work with me to fight for the people.
Brother Snyder, we got the Red Cross to come over. We have two new schools, one of $17 million and the other $16 million. And we got with the superintendent of education, and those gymnasiums is ready. They are shelters.
He just talking about we just did 6 schools in the Southwest Georgia area, in the Albany area, and the Delta Sigma Theta partnered with us and opened up those doors. Superintendent opened up the doors. We went and started educating the kids on preparedness. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. That's why we need you. Believe me. That's why we need you. Believe me. I know where you're at. Believe me. Oh, yeah. Do I?
My question was, who's policing the Red Cross? Because up in Rome, Georgia, some of the services that he spoke of, we don't know about that.
And I got to get up to Rome. Trust me, I do. Believe me. And they've been asking me to come up, but I just hadn't had a chance to get up there. But trust me, I need to connect you.
Yes, sir.
Because we do need y'all connected in Rome. Yes.
Thank you very
much. In North Georgia, period.
Well, I'm on the team with Dexter, so but he.
Okay, yeah. we definitely, because you already know that's real.
Thank
And to hear me, the honest to God truth is, this is a new experience for the Red Cross. They never seen black folks like this that care about their community. Or at least they didn't. At least they thought, like most white folk, that we didn't care about our community. But the bottom line is, we do. We do care about our community. I just need y'all to participate. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. How do we get connected? We in Sandersville, Georgia, Washington County.
Washington County? Mm-hmm. Let me do this. Tonsley, all right, you want to give everybody my information, and I'll be the portal, and once I'll connect you to who you need to connect with in Georgia, so we can get everybody to sign up and volunteer. Okay? Okay, we can do that.
Thank you, sir.
Get everybody in the system, yeah. And that way you can bring us out. Let me say this to you. We have a relationship now. We have a relationship. You know, I don't want this to sound wrong, but use us. Use us. We're in a relationship. I mean in a good way, you know what I mean? That's why relationship and using don't sound right together, but y'all know what I'm saying. In other words, we got work to do, and we're willing and ready to do it. And trust me, I will get some folk out. We just left Valdosta, Georgia. Went down to Valdosta knowing that we were in a compromised community, if you will. When the disaster hit, we saw some things that was not, you know. So what I did was call a community meeting so we can talk about it, let the mayor and everybody know what's up, right? And then we went back to do the work and did a summit. So we brought then the leaders and everybody in the community together to say, we can't let this can't happen no more. You know what I'm saying that? I went down, just left Miami and city of Miami and city of Miami Gardens. Had some residents burn out of their home, but they owned their home, but they were burned out. And they were going to put them in a homeless shelter. We got with the NAACP National Headquarters, Red Cross. We shot down there, met with the mayor and everybody in the city. Told them, no, that ain't going to happen. And we changed those situations. That's how we work together. We know when to call the big dog off the porch, and we will do it. Just left right outside of Silver City, Blackhawk. And the militia wanted to take some of the stuff from the Red Cross. They wanted, because the folk up there in that part of Mississippi think that when it's up there, it's theirs. And it's militia. Got the NAACP legal department, called on the FBI, we handled that. You understand now the power you have? And those are national incidents. But they handled it. Didn't hear nothing about it, but they handled it. Because we were not, understand this, that sounds strange for the Red Cross, don't it? But they got me now. A little different Red Cross now. A little different Red Cross now. All right? Thank y'all again. And believe me, again, I will say to you, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the NAACP. Because I would not be where I am if it was not for the NAACP. A lot of us would not be where we are if it was not for the NAACP. Black folks in America, brown folks in America, without this organization, we would be lost. And don't let nobody fool you. With your connection with the churches and the infrastructure that you have, the collaborations and partnerships you have, you are the most powerful, most feared, the most revered black organization on this earth, and remain that way. Don't be compromised and don't be apologetic.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you see, all of the resources we've heard today, we want you to take them and use it to your advantage because they're here and they just want to make sure that they're doing the right thing by getting involved with us. So you all make sure you utilize that. National University, Alicia Lowry, is she here? Oh, right behind me. Thank you, Alicia. You're next. Welcome, welcome. Yes, yes. And, okay, let's give her a hand. You can sit or you can stand.
Oh, okay. I'll just stand. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alicia Lowry, and it's a pleasure to be here. I am with National University, and I have the privilege of connecting with Ms. Tanza. She is the go-to. She's the GOAT. She's the person to get things done, and I'm really glad we got to connect. So I just wanted to give you just a little bit of an overview of National, and something that I think is really important to bring to NAACP as leaders, community leaders and advocates, just really great resources. So I wanted to start with education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, and that was said by Nelson Mandela. And it is truly something that you cannot, once you gain it, cannot be taken away from you. So with that, working in the higher education space, I have felt the ability to equip and empower others that look like us to go out and pursue their dreams and change others' lives as well. National University was founded in 1971. It is a veteran established and founded organization, a nonprofit university out of San Diego, California. The founder of the organization served in the military and has provided resources and programming to military to this very day. We offer military scholarships that are extended to not just the person who participated, but their families as well as ongoing additional resources. National University, our mission is to deliver accessible world-class student experiences by providing quality programs and services that ensure student success through meaningful learning. And our vision is to be an inclusive and innovative university serving lifelong learners such as yourself who contribute to the positive transformation of society. So National, we offer over 190 programs that can be completed 100% online, from associates to doctorate as well as certifications. One area that we are pioneering right now is actually social emotional learning. It is an area that has not really had much of a name to it, but it's a tool we use every single day. It's how we self-regulate, it's how we interact with the world around us, that's how we build and maintain relationships. And so we're utilizing this tool to equip learners, educators to utilize in the classroom. However, it is something, again, that you can utilize and build upon in any place that you go. It can be a great tool in your psychological first aid toolkit. So if you're out on the front lines with the Red Cross, and there are people that you're working with that are traumatized, and they might need some additional support, tools, resources. Social emotional learning can help with that. It can help with grounding. It can help with self-reflection. It can help somebody find the words to the emotions they might be feeling in that moment that might also then provide a little bit of release or freedom. So with that, I've been working with Tanza. We are moving towards an education partnership with the NAACP Georgia Convention, so that our conference. And with that, we're hoping to bring resources, education opportunities, tuition discounts to any and all members that participate in the Georgia conference. So does anyone have any questions for me? I have some information out on the registration desk out there, as well as some swag and goodies, and this will not be the last time you see me. I'm hoping to make my way around to the local units as well, just to share more information about our programs and how we can partner with NAACP to make the greatest impact and to really just provide resources and equip members with whatever they might need. Also wanted to mention that we do have an MOU signed with the NAACP San Diego chapter, which is where our main campus is, and they've been working on some community-based outreach events out there as well. Yeah. Yes, we do. So that is something that we can take back to our team. We have a division, I guess that you would call PACE. They're the ones that create our certifications. So our general certifications, if you go on our website right now, any of those certifications, they've created those. We do have more specified certifications. Amazon came to us and they wanted one specific for their employees, so that we created that for them. So again, that is absolutely something we can work with NAACP to do. If there's a specific focus area that you want to be able to empower your members with, we can work with you on that. We also work with public safety, so we have been rolling out a free certificate for its wellness and community policing certificate, so that police officers, again, can think more about how they are caring for themselves, and then how they show up to work and how they interact with others as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's another resource that we need to utilize. What I'm going to ask Tanza, since she's really been doing a good job, just like Elder DuBose spoke of her, I really want to see if we can send all of the resources that we have heard today to all of you. Because, you know, I know there's some that really want to find out how we can get more with the Red Cross, some economic, and now we have the National University. So all of those resources are very important, and that's what we're doing now, is just what our founders wanted us to do, is to continue to make sure that we make a way when there's no way, or we think there's no way, but there's other resources. So every year we always celebrate Founders Day, which is always February the 12th, and it was 1909. So we've been here a long, long time, right? And we want to be here a longer time. That's why we want the young people to step up like you all are doing, and we certainly appreciate that. Now we're almost at the end. Are there any questions or anybody that wanted to actually comment on anything? How do you all think the day went? Was it full of resources? Yes. Even the rain didn't keep us away, right? That's right. Because I know some of you travel a distance, and we don't want to be too long because you got to get back. And you know, I live up here, so you know what the traffic is like, right? And it's not getting any better because they're building more and more units around us. The traffic, people love us, y'all. They love Georgia. I mean, when I came here years ago, I really loved Georgia because I moved here from Philadelphia, and you didn't speak to people on the trolley or on the subway because, you know, you might get hit or robbed, whatever. So we just shut up and stayed in our corner. But when I got here, they said, "How y'all doing?" And I was like, these people speaking. So I love it here, and I love the people, and it really has advanced my life and my children's life because we're here in the state of Georgia. So you all that are homegrown, born and raised here, you all did a good job.
Thank you so much.
You did a good job.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yes. So I think now it's time for announcements. So if anybody got any announcements, like we heard from Baldwin County and what they're doing, anybody else have announcements that they want to bring forth at this time to announce what you're doing in your branch? I know something, y'all not doing, I know y'all doing something. Now who's doing something? Henry County, what you doing over there? Come on, because I know you all are doing something. Come on.
Hi, thank you. We just had a deep dive redistricting roundtable where we had our elected officials come in and talk about how the structure of the redistricted maps affects Henry County specifically. We had it on Facebook Live, so that folks could ask questions and continue to ask questions as they go. When you put it on Facebook Live, you can always go back and put questions in the chat and things like that. We are also working now to plan for our grand opening of our community garden that we have there. We're going to do second year grand opening on Earth Day, April 20th, I believe. We are in the schools right now, high schools for voters registration. I think we've done maybe 8 schools so far, and we've gotten over 100 students to register. So we're busy in Henry County.
I knew you were doing something. I just know that Henry County was busy always. Okay, pass it on. Come on. Y'all don't be scared. Come on up here and say what your organizations are. NAACP, what are you doing? Come on. Let's speak it up. Let's talk it up. This is the time we share. Come on up here so we can put the spotlight on. Come on, come on. Come on. Do your thing. We want to hear from you all. Who else?
Good afternoon, everybody. Really quickly, because it's been a long day. God bless. Yes. Carroll County, we too, as Henry County, just hosted a roundtable actually Saturday for special election results for District 30. That's currently our state senator, Mike Dugan, who's running for Congressman Drew Ferguson's spot. So that position became available, and the election is actually tomorrow. So we've been busy with the roundtable that we hosted Saturday. That was also streamed Facebook Live as well. We're getting ready also for April 13th, which is going to be our 17th year hosting and funding youth in our community for our scholarship that we host. Usually we give about 5 scholarships to the youth. So we are currently taking applications from the entire county and school counselors to assist with that little labor of love that we like to give them for their tuition boost. Also for Earth Day, April 20th, our Environmental Justice Chair, Ms. Carol Boyd, is hosting a wonderful event that we're going to be sharing all on our social media outlets in the near future. And we're also getting prepared for Juneteenth. We're going to be collaborating with PEN organization, which stands for Power in Numbers, have a parade and a whole host of activities for the entire 3 days of the celebration. Our WIN committee will do their traditional program as well, which has become very popular in our organization and in the community. So we are very busy and we have so much to do, but we want to thank you, and I want to thank you for inviting us here for our 115th Founders Day. I look forward to participating and being involved in more of them. Thank you.
Hello, for all you all that don't know me, I'm Edwina Clanton, and we just got through a lot of events, and we're right now working on our first breakfast for this year, our Unity Breakfast. And the reason I want to share it with you is because if you all know Theron Johnson, he's a part of the Georgia gang. He'll be there as a keynote speaker, and we're looking forward because he has some powerful information. He's real knowledgeable about everything going on in Georgia. So we're excited about having him, and this is going to be a fundraising event for us because we really need the funds so we can get back out there in the community. Thank you all.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mention that we were the DeKalb County branch, and something else I want to tell them. But that was it. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Paris. I'm the chair of the community coordination for NAACP DeKalb, and I just wanted to let everyone know that we are very active on social media, and we would love for you to join our branch on social media or connect with our branch on social media. And also, if you don't have a community coordination committee, please think about appointing a chair and have them collaborate with us so we can all work together a little bit more efficiently.
Okay, I want to make one announcement to all the branches. If you are hosting an event in your branch, please make sure that you fill out a special event form. That's so that you can have insurance. If you do not, and I know there's a lot of branches, thank y'all for putting stuff on social media, but there are a lot of branches that have not gotten the insurance. and we know who you are. And the only thing we're doing is asking you to please follow the national protocol. We want you to have these events because that's what the NAACP is supposed to do. And we are the premier organization for African American when it comes to community capacity building and advocacy. But please do, if you need a copy of that form, just reach out to our state secretary who's outside, Ms. Jackie Jenkins, or you can also reach out to me and we'll get it to you. I know that some of y'all shying away from it because insurance is $125 per event. If you already have an insurance certificate, please still send that information to the state so that we can then send it to the national, because I tell y'all, folks are losing their jobs messing around with the NAACP. There was one branch that hosted an event. It was a nice political event, but what happened was an older lady left that event. I ain't gonna call the unit name, but an older lady walked out of the event. She tripped and fell. She broke a rib and she twisted her hip, and she broke something else. I can't remember what else it was that she broke. However, when that unit, where's the district coordinator? District coordinator is here. I know he knows exactly who I'm talking about. So when the lady injured herself, the first thing that she did was she wanted to sue the building because she thought that the building was responsible. However, the building owner was not responsible because it was not his event. It was an NAACP branch event. So nationals, trust me, our district coordinator is going to let us know what y'all doing, even if we don't watch it. But the information came to the state conference. The state conference sent it to the nationals. And when nationals spoke to that branch president, the branch president said, "Why did you ask me this question?" They said, "Have you filled out a form? Did you get insurance?" And the branch president said, "Well, why did you ask me that question?" "That's the same question my district coordinator asked me." Because you missed a step. So national is trying to make sure that we don't get caught up in lawsuits. The state conference is trying to make sure that we don't get caught up in lawsuits. It's not that we don't want you to host your events or do your events. We want you to do those things simply because you get awards at the end of the year for the events that you're holding on state, in state and in national. But please, if you need a copy of that insurance, many times the insurance national will do it for you for free. We are here today. We done been all at the Capitol. We got $1 million insurance for being over here and over there. And guess how much it cost the state conference? $0. And there are some branches that been hosting events that put in their request for insurance, and national, just because it was an honor system, charged them $0. So don't get afraid because of the money that comes along with the insurance. Be more afraid that if somebody get hurt while they're at your event, it may end up being a personal expense because the NAACP national office didn't know about it. That's all I wanted to say. Keep having your events. Stay fired up and ready to go. Question.
During conversation today, it was mentioned that one of the branches has put in for insurance waiver, and they've not heard from national yet. So then what do you do?
You wait until national responds, because just like the state conference, we put in our
3 months later?
We put in our insurance on January 30th. You know when national responded to us? Last Friday. And that's not because your event isn't important, but the national office is servicing the entire nation. So what would also be a great thing, thank you for that, what would also be a great thing is if you know that you have specific events, go ahead and send those things up early, because there are a few people that's working in our legal counsel's office. So it may be a couple for, yeah, I hate this, I don't want to put this on camera. We all know and love Director Quincy Bates. Quincy is no longer with the national office. So when I say we got to be mindful and careful of the things that we're doing in this organization. Just like the Lord, it may not come when you want it, but the NAACP gonna catch up with you right on time. Okay, that's all I need to say. Oh, somebody else had it.
I don't know if I want to.
I will say our second vice president, Dr. Rosalind Matthews, put in for her branch, and she got approval, what, a day or two?
Well, because we still waiting on our certificate from 2022.
Yeah, and it probably, so I would say this, because that's what she did. Make sure you include people from the state in that email so that it can be expedited. Redo it again and make sure you include state secretary, state president, administrators. Yes, sir. Thank you. Somebody had it.
I don't know if I want to say what I need to say now since she just said what she said. But let me just share this with you. In Augusta, Georgia, one of the things that we are doing, if you follow what Secretary of State has done in 2023, almost 200,000 people were purged from the voter roll. In Augusta, Richmond County, a little over 10,000 people were purged from the voter rolls. So what we have done is partnered with our partners in the county, all the different agencies, the Divine Nine, all of those different groups. And what we have done, we're coming together, and we're going to be covering those 10,000 people plus the people that we run across that are not registered to vote. So that's just a small thing that we're doing. We also have access. We're going into all of the schools, but this past, I think it was this past Friday or Friday before the 2nd, we had the opportunity to go into one of the schools, an East school, where they do like virtual learning. But they brought all the kids in, and we had the opportunity to meet Frederick Douglass' great-great-granddaughter. And she lives there in Augusta, Richmond County. So that is excellent. I'm going to be getting with our administrators and our state president. Let me say this. We have here in the state of Georgia, we have a young man that lives now in Augusta, Georgia. He is a nominee for the NAACP Image Award for making films. One of the things that he do is he go into the local schools and he help young people develop the technique and the knowledge that they need to produce films. Matter of fact, we have a private school that comes out of our church, and this coming Saturday, they're going to be having a film festival where they've made a film that's 2 to 3 minutes long, and he actually worked with them on that. So I'm going to be asking our state leadership to encourage everybody in the state of Georgia to support this young man. His name is Choice. I was just looking at the email he just sent me. But this young man, excellent. He's giving back to society. Just got back from California because he came back to take care of his mom. But we're going to ask everybody in the state of Georgia and the surrounding states to support this young man because he's Southern born, and we believe that he has something great to offer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll check that out.
President Timothy Bessett Sr. from Camden County, Georgia, 5-hour drive, actually turned into 7 hours, but we made it. We was backed up in traffic and got lost or whatever, but we're in Camden County, and we do have a social media presence. We are very active in our community. One of the things that we have done over the last couple of several months, we met with the county administrator and the director of our human resource department because we noticed that we didn't have representation in our county government. And so what we did, we met with them and we was able to help them draft a hiring policy that was equitable to all people. So we was a part of that, so we was excited to be able to do that. And again, we got somebody coming from the Department of Justice, from the Community Affairs, coming down to Camden County to meet with us, and so we can see how to partner with different other agencies in our community. So we're doing great things in Camden County, and you can find us on social media. Thank you.
Founders Day membership drive. We asked for 14 new or renewed. They superseded and got 24. So
wow! Yes! See, I told you you had to speak. Okay.
All right, I'm Edward Paul from the Gwinnett NAACP, former first vice president and political action chair and legal redress chair. I wore many hats, communications person, social media person. Our organization right now, our unit right now is currently kind of in a little bit of limbo. We're waiting to hear from National about whether we're going to be reorganized. So just ask for your thoughts and prayers, support for our unit. We've done a lot since my time serving with Gwinnett NAACP the last 4 years. We've got Gwinnett to be ranked among the black community, among black voters, shall I say, 25th in 2020 in terms of voter turnout. We was one of the only units in the Southeast, I think one of 3 units in the Southeast to receive funding from National to help support our GOTV efforts. And we had a very successful campaign. National congratulated us on the number of doors we knocked on, the people we got in contact with through phone and text banking. So we just continue to ask for you all support. We ask any members out there that are watching, we should hopefully be having God willing, we'll have an election soon. And we pray that we got a new leadership that will be coming in place, which I will be a part of that leadership team. And we look to get the unit back up and going and back to doing the work of the people. Thank you all.
All right, if all hearts and minds are clear, if all hearts and minds are clear, can you please ask the young people out the door to because the Lord might be ushered into the room real quick. Oh.
You know how to do it.
Before we end our session together, we know that we lost 3 military persons, and one of those persons were from the Waycross area, and so we definitely want to keep them and their families in our prayers. Not only them, but those guys who lost their lives on the plane that went down, and all of the military guys were killed. And so we want to be reminded of those families as well. As we end this session, God has been really blessing us today and very fruitful in every way possible. And I want you to know that Houston County is doing something. We have 25 young people who have now accepted as members of NAACP Youth Council. And we are going to have a community forum very soon in March. And so I'll be sending you those dates as well. And my president is here. Praise God. We are always at odds with each other, but I want him to know that I respect him in his position. Amen. And so it's good to have you here as well. And so as he's going to help me raise these young people and what they need to do. Amen. Praise God. All right. Praise God. Let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, we bow before you, Lord, in humble submission. We bow thanking you, Father, for all that you have poured out on today, on this rainy day, God. You have poured outside and we have been filled on the inside. And God, as you have spoken to us, Lord, you have aligned our hearts and our minds with some resources that we can take back to our various communities. Not only just take back, God, but we'll be able to implement those things because they will help somebody. They will show somebody that they are important, that they are valued, that they are needed, that it is necessary that they get out and vote. Father, we thank you for how you have spoken to us on today. We thank you for every participant. We thank you for everyone who showed up here today, eager, ready to make change happen for our people. Those who are marginalized, those who are disenfranchised, those who are hungry, those who need God. We ask you, oh Father, to use us, Lord, like never before. We ask you, oh God, that you would look on us, Lord, and anything that you need us to do for your people, God, that you would choose us. God, we thank you for this NAACP, God. 115 years we've been on the battlefield trying to help somebody. And oh God, if we can help somebody, then our living will not be in vain. We thank you for the walk. We thank you for the talk. We thank you for the resources. And we thank you for this church family, God, who will open their doors so that we would be able to come in and have this meeting on today. We ask that you continue to bless them in every way possible. We ask, oh God, now that we're leaving, that you will give us safe passage, that your angels will go out before us, God. And oh God, that whatever danger that lies ahead, that you will protect each and every one of us, Lord. And not only us, God, but others who are traveling our way as well. Now, God, as we leave, we ask that you would look on all of our leaders, Lord, who guide us. And, oh, Father, we ask that you would look on our political action chair, God. Oh, Father, you know what she stands in need of, Lord. You know in every way and everything that she does to strengthen us as we move along. We ask you to bless her, Father, in every way possible. And then, oh God, bless our executive director, Lord, who give and have given and still gives. Father, we thank you for her mind. We thank you for her attitude. We thank you for providing resources. And then, oh Father, when it's all said and done, we ask you to deliver us in every way, in everything that you have assigned our hands to do. Help us to do it with integrity. Help us to do it with love because it will change things in our various communities. We thank you now for what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. In Jesus' name we do pray. And we all over the building said, amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Move Jesus. Move Jesus. Move Jesus.
Good afternoon. My name is Kip Carr. I am the incoming first vice president for the Georgia NAACP. And earlier today, I took a group of branch presidents that were here, gathered at Central Presbyterian Church, and we went as a delegation over to the Capitol. The purpose being so that branch presidents can learn about the legislative process as well as hear from their legislators. And we were blessed to hear from literally about a dozen senators and representatives that stopped by that talked about their priorities, and we were able to express our sincere appreciation to them for taking the time out of their busy legislative schedule to come and address us. I think that the presidents got a lot of good feedback from it. And actually, one president just mentioned to me a minute ago that they learned a lot about the process. We gave an overview about the legislature, how it operates. We gave it very important dates about the legislative calendar, and along with a charge for them to go back and continue to stay involved, stay informed of the legislative process. It is so important in terms of thriving together for us to remain informed. And so it was just a blessing to be able to take the branch presidents over, as well as there were other officials with the AME Church as well that met with several of our branch presidents.